Go for it.
Got it. Okay. There, can you see that?
There. Okay, this is the week we are celebrating Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander. Breastfeeding Week, August 13 through 19 every year. And I think we all can take a moment to pause to think about our Hawaiian sisters and brothers and how the natural disaster they just experienced probably challenged many families. All right. Let's do some introductions. So I'm Michelle Bressler, and I am the program director for OHSU-PSU Lactation Certificate of Human Lactation. And we are bringing some of our colleagues and friends each week to highlight their work and their story about how they became lactation consultants. So with that, I will pass it on to the next person.
I'll go next. I'm Lisa. I am one of the instructors at the OHSU-PSU School of Lactation. And today we'll be interviewing Sejal, and I'll let everybody introduce themselves before we get into that.
And maybe you can say a little bit about what brought you to here today and also to lactation. I'm going to call on people. Veronica, your mic's on, so go.
Sure, I'll jump in. Thank you. Good morning. I'm Veronica Lopez Erickson. I go by Aya, she, her pronouns. I am the Parent-Child Family Health Director at Multnomah County, supporting families in their lactation journey. An RN and an IBCLC, and come from a long history of public health nursing and home visiting and supporting families. And it's just a great month to celebrate all our chest and breastfeeding efforts and services and families who are on this journey as well. So glad to be here.
Thank you.
I'll go next. I am Randy Scrima. I'm the Idaho State WIC breastfeeding coordinator and also a past cohort of the Portland State Lactation Program. And I came into lactation from struggles with my first child, and I am super excited to continue to keep learning more. So thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thanks, Randy. Ashley, are you in a place?
Yeah, you just might hear my kids in the background. I'm Ashley. I am a public health nurse down here in Douglas County, RN IBCLC. And I'm just coming to kind of celebrate things. I haven't been able to attend any of these sessions yet, even though I've been signed up, so I'm going to watch the recordings. But coming back off of ILCA, I was like, I'm going to take a couple days to just chill at home. And so it was available in my schedule. So.
Thank you. How about Ruth coming to us from Berkeley? Are you in a place to talk?
Yeah. So I'm Ruth Konoff. I'm an IBCLC and an occupational therapist. I have a increasingly small private practice as I go toward retirement, but I also volunteer several days a week at our local Berkeley WIC office in their lactation peer counsel program.
Great, thank you so much.
Oh, and I guess I'm supposed to say why I'm here. I mean, always just interested to take the time when I have the time to keep learning and hear what's on everyone's minds in the lactation world.
Thanks. And Diane Clay? Do you have are you able to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Diane Clay. I work for Multnomah County. I am a home visitor. I'm a CLC. I do want to become an IBCLC one day, so that's one of my goals. So I'm here. I'm thankful to be here. I'm here to learn, and also figuring out better ways to support my moms while they're breastfeeding. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Thanks. Okay, I think we got everybody, except for knowing more about Sejal, but I'll let Lisa do that intro and then Sejal can tell us her story.
I just have a tiny smidge of what Sejal does, and Sejal, feel free to add to it. But today we have the honor of speaking with Sejal Fichadia. She's a private practice lactation consultant, IBCLC, at Kindred Mother Care. She's also an infant massage instructor for parents, and helps them to integrate massage for overall health, but also for improved feeding. And she's also an international speaker. She's spoken at many international conferences. Most recently, she was the keynote speaker at the Gold Lactation Conference, which was very, very exciting to have one of our local IBCLCs doing that. So welcome, Sejal. Thank you for being here.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, you can say hello.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. I see some new faces and some unexpectedly familiar faces like Ruth. I have met Ruth at several other conferences, and it is nice to know that she is here as well. And thank you all for being here.
I'm gonna stop sharing so we can see each other's faces better. There we go. That's better. Okay, Sejal, I have some questions for you, and which I'm sure will evolve. And then if anybody else has questions, please feel free if something pops into your head. How did you, so you know the theme for this year's World Breastfeeding Week, National Breastfeeding Month, or I like to call it Lactation Celebration Month, is This Is My Why. So can you tell us about your why? How did you get interested in lactation and get to be where you are today?
So my why began with the birth of my niece, my sister's daughter, and she had a baby who was a 37-weeker, and I was an unofficial postpartum doula for her. I didn't even know that there was a thing called a postpartum doula at the time, but my sister had broken both the bones in her left leg while she was 8 months pregnant, and I got the privilege of taking care of her while she was recovering from the surgery for her leg, and then a C-section, and then having a baby that was growth restricted. So it was like one thing after the another, you know, creating the perfect storm. And we had a difficult time finding someone to come to her home for lactation help, and her baby was pretty jaundiced and wasn't transferring. So I was mostly in the capacity of big sister and observing how things were going. And my sister, who is a physician, had a hard time finding someone to come to her home. So I was like, this is awkward in our country to not have someone come to our home. But at the time, I had no idea that there is a profession called IBCLC, and that someone could come and visit you in your home. Because when I gave birth, which was many, many years ago, my daughter is 19, almost 20 now, I only saw hospital lactation, and I found the help that I needed later than I was expected to, because culturally, you know, it is hard for us to ask for help from people outside of our culture, right? So being an immigrant from India, it was harder for me to tell my mom, who was here to help me, that I need help breastfeeding this baby. And I ended up using a nipple shield, and it lasted for 3 months. And eventually one of my other friends told me that, you should go see lactation at OHSU. And I was like, okay. At 3 months, I was like, okay, I'm game for venturing out of the house. And I went, and my baby latched without a shield in that first appointment. And I was like, this is magic. But I had forgotten about that magic until I saw someone help my sister. And that someone was Meg, who is our local lactation consultant here. And I just saw her working with my sister and how kind she was and how efficiently she just kind of explained the whole process. And I was just in awe of the work that she was doing. And that kind of made me fall in love with not just Meg, but the work she was doing. And that became my why, because at the time I was pursuing nursing. So I wanted to become a nurse and I wanted to go back to school. So I was taking all the classes that are required for the application to be a nurse, like anatomy and physiology and all of those. And then I bumped into Meg, and my whole course of like career choice changed. And I was like, I think I want to be what she does. Because unofficially, I was doing doula work for all my friends, because we all ended up having babies almost 6 months apart from each other. So we were each other's doulas, all my Indian friends at least. And so I was like, I think that I'm going to like what I will do as a doula. And then Meg guided me into how I could become a lactation consultant. And then I found this amazing lactation community in Portland, Michelle being one of them. And then I met Lisa. It's just each of my friendships in lactation and professional, relationships in lactation have been different the way I came to it. So my why is I don't want a mom to have the same fear of what if my baby doesn't feed enough, and helping that mom, whether it be from India or from out of India, just making sure that I am flying into her nest to help her feed her baby. Or the lactating parent to feed their baby, so that is my why in a long way.
Do you feel like your like how you got into lactation and why you continue to do it has evolved over the years?
Yes, most certainly it has. And it keeps evolving, just like our cultures keep evolving. What I was in India back when I was a 24-year-old has changed because I have evolved to adapt to a different culture that I'm a part of now. But still, there are parts of me that are very rooted in my own cultural heritage, right? So it informs my practice both ways.
Yeah, how do you feel like your culture has shaped your lactation practice and how you care for families?
So one of the things I feel that, that culture is, it's like when we talk culture, we say, oh, I'm from this culture, I'm from that culture. But I feel that that is just like the tip of that iceberg. And there's this whole underneath, the big part of the iceberg that's under the water that, that should be kept in mind at all times, right? So there is a culture within a culture, then there is diversity within that culture. Like for India, the majority of people will say, oh, India, okay, home of curry or home of this and that. And people will come up to me and say, hey, do you like this? Or what is your favorite Indian restaurant? Or what's your favorite Indian restaurant in Portland? And I'm like, depending on who you ask, that name will change, right? And depending on where I am from in India. So within India, there are 28 different states, and each state has its own cuisine, its own language, its own culture. And then there is, the diaspora that is within that same state. So in my state, there are different cuisines that have variations on the main cuisine. So kind of like I am learning so much more about India outside of India as well, because I get to meet these amazing, amazing families that are from India, but the common thread is India for all of us that are my clients who are from India, right? And then there are these clients who are like I'm from the same state you are from. So we kind of jive on, okay, let's kind of talk about the language I speak, and I can speak the language. So they are like, oh yeah, someone from Gujarat is here, so we can talk in Gujarati, you know. And then there are times when they are also a little skeptical because I am talking to them in English, and they are like, are you really from India? How long have you been here? And I'm like, yes, I am from India. And it's like building that trust. Even being an Indian can take time. And I would like everybody to understand that building trust won't happen in the first lactation visit sometimes. And sometimes it will. It depends on how people come into it, right? So if they have a lot of mistrust in the mainstream medicine profession, right? So then you are coming in from a hospital perspective, they're going to be like, I'm not so sure you understand where we are coming from. So having someone to talk to about these cases or collaborate with within the community would be very helpful. So for me, that's very important, that I'm open to what they are trusting. So let's say my clients or my patients, who have, if you're in the hospital, it's a patient. For me, it's a client. So I'm always thinking about, okay, what is it that makes them not trust me? And how can I kind of cross that barrier with them and not just come at them with all this information that I have? Yes, my information I have is very valuable for them in that moment, but can I take a step back and just let them talk so we understand where they're coming from instead of just giving them information? Does that, I hope it helps those of you who are listening right now. If I'm blabbing too much, just let me know.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
Love
So
it.
that is how I feel that I incorporate my culture.
I know one of the things that you speak of and teach is infant massage, and which is different for you being Indian than a non-Indian person teaching infant massage. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, the programs that educate us on becoming educators of infant massage all actually came from India and various other cultures like, Sweden, Africa, parts of Africa. So it's an amalgamation of all different cultures, and they created a program that, gave people this format to teach a class to parents, right? So it was a great introduction for the parents to learn about infant massage and pursue that if they wanted to. Coming from an Indian perspective, I grew up with infant massage. So a lot of the things that I picked up growing up, seeing my siblings getting massaged, seeing my cousins getting massaged are something so priceless to me that I don't have the fear. I feel like that a lot of the people here I see have, like, about handling infants in general. So a lot of people as new parents are afraid that, oh, I'm going to hurt the baby, and when they see me, handling their baby, they get that confidence. Oh my goodness, I could not understand that I could do this with my baby. And then they are like, okay, if Sejal is able to do this, with a baby that she's working with, maybe I can do that. And it brings a lot of confidence in the parents, right? So that's seeing that, okay, they are not going to hurt their babies. And again, building that trust with the parent takes time. It's not going to happen in one visit. Sometimes it may take time, and some parents will still be skeptical, like, oh, sure, you're from India, so you got this, but we're not from India. How? So that is another, way that I have to think about, okay, this person's culture is not that. So if I want to introduce them to this, how do I make it so that it's something that is non-threatening, right? So we are all looking for safety when it comes to working with babies, and working with your own baby. You're looking hyper aware of the safety of your baby. As a new parent, we all, all of us who have been parents know that yeah, I am kind of worried what the baby is going to say, and the baby will have an opinion on it for sure. So educating parents on what that means, and not every cry or every upset moment means that they hate massage, and most of us are people who like to be touched, and that is a social human connection thing for all of us. Now, some of us who are traumatized may not like it, and that is okay. And so not pushing something, but offering it to the parents that I work with, that, oh yeah, this is one way you can help your baby relax or kind of come into their own body. Some of these babies have gone through a difficult birth, or a gestation that was not necessarily happy for them. And they almost look like they're staring in blank space. I mean, I know if some of you who have worked with babies, you have seen those babies where they're like, I'm not here. I'm here physically.
They're
but I'm not here."
offline.
So they're offline. So then bringing that nervous system back into the present is super important. And that also, one of the things that it does for the parent, which is very beautiful, and it's an honor to witness, is to see these parents come into like this moment with their baby where their eyes are like lighting up like, Diwali. And they're like, whoa, I'm just like, oh, and you can see like the tears rolling down their face, and the baby is like just mesmerized by this parent. And then you see them falling in love. And I think that's just very juicy for me.
I see a difference in how you work with babies.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's because of this, but or if I'm just attributing this to you, but having grown up with caring for babies like that, and with lots of touching and it being an important part of your culture, I see you being very just at ease with babies, and it seems easy for you to teach parents how to do it. That doesn't always mean they're ready or in a place where they're like automatically comfortable, of course. But you have like a innate sense of like, this baby needs this. And you're very good at conveying that to the parents. It's very, if you ever have a chance to see Sejal work, it's very exciting.
No bias. You can tell Lisa is a friend of mine, so no bias there. No, but I honestly think that we have to be open-minded, like literally, like let go of what you think is going to happen, and then just be in the moment with these parents and babies, and magic happens.
Could you show us a type of massage, maybe since we're all here, a massage that you use frequently for babies, and that could possibly help with feeding?
Yes, absolutely. So I usually teach parents not to go for the baby's face, if possible. When you start massage, start with the legs, because legs feel very non-threatening to babies. So if you start with the legs, you are building the baby's trust in the parent, and the parents trust in themselves that they can help their babies, right? So a lot of the times when parents are scared to massage their babies, I will show them on their hand, like how much pressure to use on the baby, right? And babies, contrary to popular belief, don't like to be handled like flowers. They're not going to break. They actually like to have some deep, firm pressure, because they had that deep, firm pressure in utero, right? So they had this really deep, firm pressure that they were feeling inside the womb as they were growing in mom. And so we have to remember that teaching these parents comes from informing them that why we are teaching them the way we are teaching them, right? So if I'm teaching this parent to use firm pressure, deep pressure, I'm actually showing it to them on their hand, and then I'm saying, okay, now try on your baby. And they like to have that firm pressure because it actually defines the body's boundaries for them. It's about proprioception to these babies, right? So they understand that this is where I end and this is where something else is happening. So if we do not give the parents this information and just say, just massage your babies like this, or if I'm giving them an instruction on how to massage their babies, yeah, they will take my instruction sheet and toss it, but they will not be able to see like what is happening. So when I'm teaching them, I'm also teaching them that, look, if you're massaging the right leg versus the left leg, can you see, is the baby responding differently? And there are subtle differences that the baby will respond. And you will notice that, okay, well, when I touch the baby's left leg, the response was not so great. Well, then we need to make sure that we are handling that side of the baby with much care, right? And building that trust with baby and building that trust with the parent. Is that too jargony? So one of the easy things to do is, if the parents, I see a lot of parents holding their babies like this, or in their arms. So I say, okay, let's start with just kind of doing some gentle compressions on the leg and see how your baby responds. And if the baby says, okay, I'm game for this one, dad and mom, then they will just continue to work on the legs. So the thing with infant massage is it's never a one size fits all, and it's never like, oh, I have to do a full body massage if I'm doing an infant massage. Because introduction to massage is the first step to doing a full body massage. Does that make sense? And then these babies that are mostly, kind of squished in the womb have time to kind of open up when you do massage. So I think of babies as these tiny little buds that are in the womb. And then once they come out, I want them to bloom in a full flower. And infant massage, I feel like, intersects with that very much so. So long strokes with some edible oil that is nut-free is what I teach. Start with long strokes and never dangle the baby like this. I'm just showing you on the video, but usually the baby is in the parent's lap or on the blanket on the floor. Does that help you guys? The other thing that I teach parents is once their baby gets comfortable with some of the legs, and then you move on to the arms, then you move on to the belly, then the chest, because all of our mid body, our upper mid thorax, all holds vital organs. So if you go and start massaging your baby's chest, your baby may not have a favorable response. If you are just kind of going in for all the vital organs, and as the mammalian brain will trigger a response like, oh no, I don't like this anymore. So we have to think of it as like, how do we make it so that the baby is constantly feeling safe with whatever we are doing with them, not to them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then I have a whole free facial massage video on YouTube if you guys want to check it out. And I send it to parents that just want to work on the feeding reflexes of the baby. A lot of the oral feeding reflexes reside on our face, and we need to make sure that we are, and I'm sending that link to Lisa so she can post it to all of you. If you feel comfortable, feel free to use it in your practice. But the face is like, the headquarters of the body, and they get a lot of messages through their face. So making sure that we are kind of massaging the upper lip area, massaging the chin, massaging the jaw. And I would certainly try massaging your own jaw. So when you do that on your own jaw, tell me what you feel. And try to do a less pressure, more pressure, slower, faster. And each one of you will feel differently on what works best for you. Does that make sense? So you didn't know this was an anti-aging facial massage class, did you? No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so so the jaw massage helps, and so does the massage of the face. Now, when you massage the upper lip, I also want you to understand, okay, where do I feel the massage impacting the face? Do any of you feel it in your heart palate? think about it. Do it again. I know.
It makes my tongue go up to my palate.
Yes, it does. The tongue will float up to the palate where its home should be. The same thing goes for here. Or going under the chin. Excuse my double chin.
My son calls that my smiley face.
I love it, the smiley face up here. So a lot of these babies also have like clogged tear ducts, right? You see babies that have clogged tear ducts. You can actually work on the bones. And the beauty about babies' face is their bones are in parts. The cranium is in parts. So moving the skin of the face will create some messaging to the bone directly. Does that make sense? So this is an easy thing parents can do when babies are just kind of, you know, in that dreamy state of like, I'm kind of asleep, but I'm kind of awake. That's when they will allow you to do it. Or even when, if they're older, then the quiet alert state is where you will find them be like content with massaging. Does that help, Lisa?
Yes, thank you very much. I had to kick a kid out. Interruption. Yes, thank you so much, Sejal, for coming and speaking with us and teaching us. Does anybody have any questions for Sejal?
Cool. Well, thank you all for coming. I just want to flip up here our information in case you need to get in contact with us or hear more about our program. Whoops, there is where to call for more questions or to request an advising appointment. Some of us are already born into our lactation career. Well, there's some who are still in utero, so we want to be there for you. And this is the pathway that we can help facilitate, where you start with the prereqs, you take lactation education, you interview for the practicum, and then qualify, and then go to your practicum, study for the exam, and then graduate. So that's just a little bit about who we are. And we look forward to meeting up with you, not next week, where you have our next presentation will be on September 29th, when we're celebrating Black Breastfeeding Week with our colleague Asia Rubio and one of our recent graduates, Nadej Kami. So look for that invitation. It's in the Eventbrite. And then we'll see Veronica, if she's still online. She's coming back to help talk about the Latina, Semana Latina. So thank you all for being here, and happy Breastfeeding Month.
Thank you, Sejal. Thanks everyone for coming.
Bye.
Don't forget to stop your recording.
There it is.